Innovate, create, and breakthrough. Let's sail into the future.
Trump put an aircraft carrier next to Iran, and he said, if Iran attacks our aircraft carrier, we're prepared to defend ourselves. And then $12 billion a week of Iranian money was just fleeing out of the country. And these are people that can't have US bank accounts because of the sanctions. So they're basically just like dumping all the money into Bitcoin right now.
Technology is inherently amoral. It's just a tool. It's up to us. And teamwork makes this collective dream work.
There's a big difference between Jobs, Zuckerberg, and Buterin. Buterin sold an unlicensed, unregistered security and had $5 million to work with. The other guys did it because of their passion. They did it to innovate something.
The Future Is Now presents, together with Coinsbank, Blockchain Cruise Mediterranean 2019. Welcome to the Blockchain Cruise by Coinsbank, a crypto gathering that has become the household staple in the world of blockchain. Industry's forward-thinking pioneers have gathered for the fourth time for a trip through the waters of the world, where the discussion always takes a hot turn. This time, decentralized nomads embark into the Mediterranean, while we do our best, as always, to bring you the latest scoop from the innovators of tomorrow. 35 speakers, 1,000 blockchain heads. First stop, Palma de Majorca, Spain. Then on to Marseille, in France. And finishing off with Spezia, Italy. Starring Michael Terpin with Transform Group, a philanthropist, a visionary, burrowing through the way for blockchain mass adoption.
If every millionaire in the United States, forget the rest of the world, just the United States, every millionaire wanted to have one Bitcoin, there wouldn't be enough to go around.
Vit Andrusevich with Coinsbank, your one-stop business merchant service and crypto to fiat bank of the future.
I would like to express my gratitude towards you all who sincerely contributed to this event, to make it a success. This wouldn't have been possible without the support of each and every one of you present here.
Brandon Synth with Skycoin, third-generation blockchain, building an array of products and services, including the world's largest community-powered meshnet.
The reality is there's not any thing that really lets you build a blockchain application today. So I think that what we're doing with CX and allowing the college students to come in and have their own blockchain, write their own app, and to experiment, I think that's really revolutionary.
Brock Pierce, philanthropist, activist, chairman of Bitcoin Foundation, daring pioneer of the crypto space.
We are working in an industry that on its core premise is about immutable records. We will be held accountable for the things that we do. And so it's very, very easy to lose sight of the mission, to lose sight of the goal, to lose sight of the intentions and the principles by which we are supposed to be operating.
Leiman, a prominent tech entrepreneur with To the Moon, a trading game.
Where you make a bet on cryptocurrency rates. Your ship, spaceship, it is your portfolio. You should fill in the tank with different cryptocurrency. And those one who show the best ROI, the best result within the one track, take the prize.
Tone Vays, a true Bitcoin maximalist, former Wall Street trader and founder of the Bitcoin-only conference, Unconfiscatable.
I just can't see any other blockchain taking over Bitcoin because that kills the store of value property of Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin is replaceable, then anything else is also replaceable.
Didi Taihuttu, the Bitcoin dad, having sold all of his assets to buy Bitcoin, Didi successfully created a real, decentralized crypto nomad family. with his wife and 3 daughters.
You know, I was the guy in all the fancy clubs with the Belvedere bottles, and I'm the dad spending time with his kids.
And Beatrice Collet with Chiliz, a prominent Malta-based startup taking crypto into sports on a whole other level.
Take a chance on blockchain. Take a chance on decentralization. And maybe trade out football with sports, with whatever you like in life. Try it that way and then spread it out to many other industries.
Welcome aboard to the Blockchain Cruise. This is the future, and the future is now. Created by Oneday Productions.
My name is Miguel Francis-Santiago. I come from the world of filmmaking and digital innovation. It is a pleasure on behalf of Coinsbank to welcome you all. Make some noise. All right. So as we stand on the cusp of this, what I call cyberlution, this evolving time of the planet, as we evolve ourselves with the technologies that come in hand. And I think the great thing about this decentralized wave of innovation is that our children will bear the fruit that we are creating right now. Thank you.
The cruise began with a meet and greet by Coinsbank at one of the lounges of Royal Caribbean's massive Oasis of the Seas. A ship that dwarfs last blockchain cruise's Vision of the Seas by almost 5 times. The conference attracted primarily a Bitcoin core audience, as did the last one. Third-generation blockchains like Skycoin, base systems like Coinsbank, exchanges like Dobi, mining companies like Bitfury, innovative gaming and betting projects like To the Moon and Chiliz were also present. And even consulting companies like Transform Group all were in the mix at the conference. Established companies with tangible products, which perhaps is a good move away from the speculative aspects of the industry that took a huge hit with the phenomena of the ICOs. The first day began with our arrival in Spain's Palma de Majorca. As we set off for a helicopter spin across the island, we even got to fly in the official Bank of the Future chopper. At The Future Is Now, we always like to get right to the point from the beginning of the conversation. So we decided to see what is lately troubling the crypto world.
I mean, I think we are all looking for the same thing about mass adoption. We are all looking for mass adoption. So whatever it is, financial services, which is the hottest topic that everyone knows of. I mean, when you talk to anyone in the street about blockchain, the first thing they will tell you is Bitcoin. But apart from that, they do not exactly know what is blockchain about. And you have so many applications, whatever, real estate and health. And today we saw one of these, so like saving. I mean, us, we are about entertainment. I mean, when you're coming to think about Chiliz, what we do, we are really about mass adoption, and we think the best way to do it is via sports. And what better than football to bring people together?
I would say first and foremost, we're not united as an industry against sort of common threats. If you look at the banking industry, they're united, right? If they think that they want to, kind of push us down until they can have their own private blockchains and preserve their fee structure, their 3.2%, JP Morgan, of course, has been very critical of the blockchain. What do they have to lose? Oh, I don't know, $32 billion a year in Chase card interest and fees. So I don't think there's a common voice for the blockchain, or even a group of common voices that can all agree on issues. We do have some great organizations that are out there sort of fighting specific fights in terms of like educating regulators, being a think tank. But I think as the industry grows, we certainly need to have more of a lobbying force to be able to compete against the giant money that that banks are putting up to sort of want to control the space and own it.
Problems that we have is just that the central government is just sucking up all the money and prints up all the money they want and sucks it back with taxes. And unless you're, showering in the waterfall of government money, you're basically going to be broke in the current economic system. So I think this decentralized financial system is an opportunity for a more equal and equitable distribution of wealth compared to what we have now.
As a co-founder and CEO of Coinsbank, I have been involved in IT technologies for more than 20 years now. So I completely understand that nowadays there is a great number of different projects available in the market. However, one of the biggest problems of its variety, I think, can be insecurity. So this fact initially led me to establish and then later to lead the Coinsbank platform.
Vit Andrusevich, the CEO, dwells into new projects coming out of Coinsbank, the leading platform in providing crypto fiat debit card services, making crypto more tangible to the general public. During the cruise, they announced and handed out their branded UnionPay cards and are currently bringing back Visa and MasterCards as well. As a part of their bold tech campaign, very soon Coinsbank plans to release EU bank account setup that could be initiated within one click through their website, both for businesses and personal use, without any jurisdiction limitations. The account will support top fiat and top cryptos simultaneously. Another thing to watch out for by Coinsbank are the crypto ATMs that will allow users to send money via Western Union, top up the phone or pay bills, and even purchase airline tickets. By the way, the pleasure of leasing such an ATM can be had by anyone residing in the EU, and of course making a percentage off the service fee.
I would like to focus your attention on payment cards which are available to order on our platform again. So since very beginning, our platform was one of the first one who gave access to funds on crypto wallets through a payment card. So and now I'm glad to announce that this feature is available again.
The next day, the blockchain cruise entered the port of Marseille, a beautiful French coastal town that is best known, at least to my generation, for its original 1998 feature film action series called Taxi, starring Sami Nasseri. Coinsbank had no less of an adventure planned for this bit of blockchain tourism, a Segway trip around town with high speeds and lots of fun. Cruise continued, we've assessed what we've gathered so far. The innovators of the future are working tirelessly to actually create this industry from the bottom up. The problems such as lack of overall direction of the blockchain space, ways to increase mass adoption, and methods to stand up to the banking system are all in the works. In a space that has 0.2% mass adoption, the blockchain heads have certainly come a long way. Another example of the transformation comes with Skycoin, who are currently on the cusp of decentralizing the telecom industry. Brandon Synth, the founder and the CEO, explains the array of products and services that are aiming to disrupt several sectors simultaneously, empowering individuals, communities, first and third world countries alike to undoubtedly be the masters of their own destiny.
I think that we're going to see people, like in Iran, the government is shutting off the internet. So you have these people protesting against the government. The government just shut off Telegram, they shut off WhatsApp, they shut off Facebook, they shut off YouTube, and sometimes they just shut the whole internet off. And I think eventually we're going to see people move to more mesh network-centric chat things like Skycoin or like GoTenna or FireChat, and there's different technologies emerging that are going to allow the telecoms to be decentralized. So I don't think there's going to be like a government that can just pull a switch anymore and turn off the whole internet.
Skycoin has been thorough in developing their meshnet technology with Skywire since we last saw them in Malta in 2018.
They have since geared up to launch their test pilots in New York and Antigua. But as of recent, they released their official programming language called CX and began attracting universities to try the language and create their own blockchains, continuing Skycoin's vision of building its brand ground up through the grassroots. Synth believes Skycoin is a third-generation blockchain.
I think we went through 3 stages of adoption in crypto, and we're entering the 3rd stage. The first stage was just Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, or just a token. It didn't really do anything, but I have a token. I can give it to my friends. We can trade it. We can speculate on it. Then the 2nd generation was launched by Ethereum, where we had some smart contracts that we could run, and we could start putting programs on the blockchain. But smart contracts are actually very limited, and we forced all of the programs, 100,000 developers on one blockchain, so it became bloated, it became expensive. And in Ethereum, we ended up paying $3 to $5 a transaction, and you pay for the transactions, but the storage space is free. EOS came in, they say, oh, we'll give you the transactions for free, but you have to pay for the storage. And that forced the developers to have very small programs, and they ended up paying even more than they did on Ethereum, so they sort of abandoned that. And the model didn't really work. And the 3rd generation that we're going into now is, I think, what Skycoin's doing, is for every single developer, we're giving them their own blockchain. So you don't have any fees, you have your own blockchain. You can do whatever you want. So if a city wants to issue cryptocurrency, or Dubai wants to put their traffic tickets on blockchain, or you have 20 different government agencies, we can now give each of those agencies their own blockchain. They can do their own pilot on it. And they control the data, they own it themselves, they own the infrastructure. And we opened up this program called CX Labs, where we launched our programming language CX, and we allow people to create their own blockchain and write their applications. And just in the last week, when we opened this program up, we had over 150 developers sign up in the first week and start developing apps, and college students come in, and because a lot of people want to write their app and it doesn't work on Ethereum, or they can't do it on EOS, they try Neo, and they try this and they try that. And I think we're the first platform that, we don't have a smart contracts language, we have a programming language. And we're actually the first platform that allows you to run any program on blockchain that you could run on a computer. It just completely, the idea that I could have my own blockchain and I can run whatever I want on it is completely, it's just a revolution in terms of the development process.
The view on the future of cryptocurrencies, which in some cases are not truly decentralized, unlike Bitcoin, does differ when it comes to Bitcoin maximalists, or in other words, people that believe Bitcoin is the only true crypto, like Tone Vays, a crypto trader from Wall Street, once a VP of JP Morgan, a distinguished speaker and YouTuber, a conferencier of the Bitcoin-only conference, Unconfiscatable. I decided to get him and Brandon in the same room, along with another influencer in the space, Keith Waring. And we all had a nice chat, which you will get to see in full as a separate release from The Future Is Now.
So, what do you think of this? What Brandon just said resonated with you in any way? Do you think, not necessarily Skycoin, but visionaries like Brandon, with a technology that's been on the market for 7 years, do they have a chance?
Yeah, so my old boss on Wall Street, whenever we would come up with these grand ideas looking way into the future, he would refer to this as we are practicing mental masturbation. I wish one day the government will move all tax revenue through the Bitcoin blockchain. So for the first time, the private citizen can see what the government's doing, and the government can't see what the private citizen's doing, because we will be using privacy, which the government will say they can't use. That all sounds awesome. Not gonna happen anytime soon. When the internet was coming out, all of the people that saw the internet for what it can be, probably, like, what is it now? It's still dominated by porn and cat videos, right? and we're talking like 20 years down the line, right? So, like, all of these grand thoughts that everyone is going to be doing these smart contracts and everyone's going to be in control of their own data and everything's going to be decentralized. At the end of the day, person still has their password as password and they expect somebody else to hold it for them, right? Man, like, I'm hoping that Bitcoin can at least make people be responsible for their money, but outside of that, what I see is people don't want to hold their data. They don't want to hold their data to the point where everyone is using Instagram to do stories, which gets deleted within 24 hours. They don't actually get deleted. Facebook still has them, but nobody else can see them. Nobody wants to store data. I don't know. I just want to get the money out of the control of the government, and maybe 5 or 2% of the global good that could come out of this, if people took it seriously, will come out of it by default.
I am chain agnostic. It's my belief that crypto maximalism of any sort is similar to religious fundamentalism. If anyone makes the world a better place, we all win. When someone is being a maximalist, they're normally just talking their book. I believe that we should be open. We're an open source market. We should be open to innovation. Innovate however you like.
The last day of the cruise took a turn with a surprise. Prague peers joined the gathering as we docked in Spezia, Italy on our last day before heading to Rome. Early adopter, thought leader in the space, supporter of Burning Man, Puerto Rico's Restart Week, and decentralization. We began our discussion during our fireside chat, figuring out the latest trends and looking at ideas that can uplift the industry.
Where is the reality? Where is the story? The thing that we ultimately have to deliver on is, talk is cheap, right? We actually have to begin executing, but it's understandable. This is an industry and a technology that's only been around for 10 years. We've been busy building the bridges, the roads, the tunnels. And the reality is the roads today are still made of dirt and gravel. And when it rains, you can't drive much of anything significant on it yet. But this is the thing that, we ultimately have to deliver on, is the markets will only tolerate our stories so long. Eventually you have to, deliver.
Can you dwell a little deeper into something you mentioned last time when we saw each other in Malta a couple weeks ago about Cambridge Associates? What is this, and how has this affected this current spring that we're seeing, or hasn't it?
Well, there's many contributing factors. There's not any one thing that's driving this, but the big data point that was lost on most everyone that I like to highlight is this organization, Cambridge Associates, not to be confused with Cambridge Analytics. This is a firm that if you're a fund manager, if you manage big money, if you're the type of group that goes out to raise capital from the largest pensions, endowments, insurance companies in the world, Cambridge Associates represents those groups and does research and makes recommendations on asset allocation. And if you work for one of those funds, you often get bonus based upon your hitting those allocations. In the same way that if you do what they recommend and it doesn't work out, you're fine. But if you don't, you probably get fired. So it's a safe bet. And so Cambridge Associates is the closest thing to the Word of God for the biggest pools of capital in the world. And about 3 months ago, they made this recommendation of, you should have 30 basis points in this space, which should drive as much as $300 billion of capital investment into the category over the next few years.
Hedge funds are very, very often wrong. In fact, when too many hedge funds are in the same trade, there is a high probability of that trade badly failing. The majority of hedge funds lose rich people money. It's just the way it is. That may not change. So just because some hedge fund is saying to do something, be careful. They're probably already in, and it's a way for them to get out.
What do you think? Is more institutional money are we about to see more institutional money get pumped into this? Since we just had almost a 50% market cap increase in a matter of 4 weeks in last month.
It doesn't feel like it yet. I think the regulatory environment is still so uncertain that the real regulated institutions would rather wait until there's some kind of regulatory clarity. If they're getting in, I hope they're only getting into Bitcoin. Though to be honest, I wouldn't mind some of these famous hedge funds that could never do wrong and people feel like they print the money go down because they invested in terrible altcoins.
I've spoken at a number of family office events. They're mainly interested in Bitcoin. they sort of were like, we dodged the ICO bullet because they were not pitched the best projects. The best projects usually got funded by, quality, digital currency funds and insiders in Wales before it ever got out to anybody else. So typically things that, went to like the family office conference circuit tour were not necessarily the best offerings out there. But, Bitcoin is obviously the place that any investor should be starting with. It's a good way to get a hold on the economics of the space, and it's probably the safest asset in the terms of, it's not going to go to zero.
Institutional capital is coming in. The market cap of BTC is currently on the rise. The crypto winter is far behind us. Major brands like Whole Foods, Microsoft, and Louis Vuitton are adopting blockchain technology into their businesses, while geopolitical destabilization, such as the current Iran situation, will only fuel Bitcoin's price. Yet the masses are still fairly skeptical about crypto. Innovation comes with play, and gaming has been at the core of the Bitcoin culture. After all, digital goods from the gaming world were sold for real money way before Bitcoin existed. And now the blockchain innovators are doing what they can to make crypto and trading easier. The team behind To the Moon trading game have created a space adventure that takes you into a ship, allows you to fuel your tank with any of the top 20 cryptos, and race to the moon, advancing by predicting the right price of the coins you choose. Players whose prediction comes closest to the timestamp fly faster than the rest, eventually reaching the moon, the jackpot, and winning anywhere from $50,000 and up. Not bad for a 30-minute virtual race. Meet Lev Leiman and Alexander Polotayko, co-founders of the platform.
You, me, and Alexander, we want to make competition between each other. You believe in Bitcoin, I believe in Ethereum, Alexander believes in EOS, for example. I buy Ethereum, you buy Bitcoin, you buy Ethereum. And we make bets. $100. Yeah, $100. So we have in the bank $300. And our race is 5 minutes. And we will see which currency will increase, will grow more. Bitcoin, Ethereum, or EOS within these 5 minutes. And those one who made the best predictions, the right predictions, take the prize, take $300.
Young and ambitious, the Moon game is a testament to how great ideas can come to fruition and be perceived instantly beneficial to the community and to mass adoption. The result of their beta test reminded me of the late 2017 bull run when BTC went to 20K. The adoption of their game by the masses keeps going up.
We were together with Alexander on the kitchen and created a simple idea. Gamification of trading process. When you can do it not only when you do your invest stuff, not on the exchangers with really hard UI and UX experience, but you can do it in the way of playing, of game.
Didi Taihuttu, the Bitcoin dad, the man behind the Bitcoin family, once gave up everything he had in the material world to live off Bitcoin. Doing that successfully now for some time, he is one of the biggest advocates for unified and communal mass adoption within the space.
I think mainly the ego is a big issue in cryptocurrency. That's why we are fighting instead of working together. That's why, you have these clashes between Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV. Guys, they all need to realize, and I'm not offending anybody, but they all need to realize, if we want to win this revolution against this monetary system and we want to disrupt this as a collective, we need to work together. Some people want to step into this cryptocurrency scene because they like real estate. So let that real estate tokenizing company be this real estate tokenizing company. Some people will be introduced to this community by football. Let social do their thing and let's get people in there. Many people who love porn got into cryptocurrency because of Verge. Let them. At the end, they will all understand that there is a time we will need to change to Bitcoin and to keep it decentralized and to protect our real unconfiscatable aspects.
Not just strive for short-term gain,
right? But create something that's sustainable and not with only a dollar sign
It's not always about the money. A lot of it is about reputation, right? There are so many anonymous Bitcoin developers to this day because they're doing it for the technology, and they're actually scared about what they're building. Vitalik Buterin seems to embrace it, and several of the lawyers that come through my YouTube channel are convinced that Vitalik has been working with the US government and the Russian government and any other government that shows up in his office or in his apartment and says, you better work with us. And that's what Satoshi did different. You can't show up at Satoshi's house and tell him to work with you, because he was always invisible, because he wanted to bring revolutionary technology to the world, not be a leader of that technology.
Technology isn't amoral. Technology isn't good or bad, it's a tool. The outcome is determined by the culture and the intentions and the people that show up to do it. And Burning Man is kind of the oldest, most important culture of decentralization. It's the greatest human experiment of decentralizing systems, questioning the status quo. Is money necessary? Creating and writing, call it 10 commandments or principles, as the case may be, around what the world needs today and then implementing it. And so I think that is the best example of culture, but there's others that are out there. That's just, the portion of the, call it cultural movements happening in the world that I most identify with, that I think embody what it is the world needs.
There are many burners out there who believe Bitcoin is the technology while Burning Man is the culture. Brock is a long supporter of the burn. Being a part of a magical camp in the playa called Red Lightning, Blue Thunder gives us a deeper dive into what it's like being inside what is hard to call a festival, but more like an alternate reality.
Going to Burning Man is like being transported to an alternative reality. It's like being transported to another dimension where all of the, call it, the rules and patterns that define the world in which we live have been questioned from the ground up. And where, for example, everyone shows up and they understand there's this requirement of radical self-reliance, where you better be able to take care of yourself and don't expect anybody else to take care of you. Like, manage your business. The ideas of leave no trace. Don't leave anything worse than you found it, which isn't good enough to fix the world today, because that only makes things sustainable. I live my life at a much higher bar, which is leave things better than you found it. But the concept's like, there's no money there. You run off of a gifting culture, not a barter culture. And the idea is showing up with your superpowers in the world, with your gifts, and offering them generously with no expectation of anything in return. These are radical ideas where most people that go out to this sort of event goes, oh my God, if only the world could be this way, the whole world would be different. And then everyone goes back to the analog world. Everyone goes back to reality. I've chosen to embody those principles in my everyday life, and as do many others, because I think that we can take those principles and make that this reality.
I have no doubt that mass adoption is going to come very soon. For me, sports and entertainment, whatever random people are loving, is how, let's take people by the sentiment, by their feeling. What do they like in life, And then we just take their hand and guide them towards mass adoption.
We're going to change the locus of control from a corporation like Google and Facebook and Yahoo and so on, and Twitter and YouTube. The focus is going to shift from these centralized corporations back down to the community and the individual level, and that's going to be very disruptive. I think that's even going to be a civil war. I don't see us making this transition without violence. I think it's going to be I think whole country is going to collapse because their essential political system is based on a lie.
we are going to change this world, we are going to disrupt the systems, and we need each other to do this. We need to back each other up. We are lucky that we are making huge kinds of profits because of trading, of hodling. Why wouldn't we share and care for other peoples? Because that is what blockchain and Bitcoin, in my opinion, is about. You know, helping others to get included into the monetary system, making impact investment at those places so they can provide a future for themselves, and then we will average out, you know, all the wealth in the earth. And I think that is the solution where we need to use the tools blockchain and Bitcoin.
Create, be positive, educate yourself, love each other, and of course, work hard, guys. Work hard.
1995, so that was 24 years ago, Newsweek wrote a piece basically saying how the internet was a joke and that nobody was going to ever go and, like, you know, read a fine publication like Newsweek on a computer. Meanwhile, Newsweek print edition is out of business for many years now, and there's 4 billion people on the internet. And so all the reasons why they said in the 1990s that the internet couldn't work, no one will ever trust their credit card to the internet. Obviously, as soon as the security issues were fixed, that was fine. You can't find anything. Google fixed that. You don't know anybody. Facebook fixed that. Nobody's on it. We got 4 billion people. It's something that I believe it was Bill Gates who said most people and companies overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what you can do in a decade. And I think the industry's in that space. Look how far we've come in a decade from an experiment that not even some of the earliest adopters were sure that it was going to work, and it had a value of 0, to having reached an $800 billion market cap for cryptocurrency just a mere 8 years after it launched is unprecedented.
Blockchain Cruise, the summer edition 2019 by Coinsbank, has yet again brought the decentralized nomads that much closer to mass adoption. Remember, it all starts by showing up, by opening up and getting into the grind of the discussion. Because only a healthy discussion backed by action filled with integrity and goodwill can shift and build this industry from the ground up. And there is no one else but you and yourself who can make that choice and begin manifesting your ideas within this space.
The future is now. Let's dream it, and let's make it as good as we possibly can. The future is what we make it. So let's make it a good one.
I'm Miguel Francis-Santiago, and I thank you for watching. Make sure to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this episode, and spread the word, share the message. This is a film by the community, for the community. Don't miss the future. The future is now.